Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check in with the jet stream on this Friday morning, we continue to watch this area of high pressure, this ridge that's across the central U.S. right now, and this fast area of jet stream winds bringing in a reinforcing shot of some cooler and less humid air. We've got a ridge, or a trough, I should say, though, kind of parked over eastern Canada. And that's going to keep at least the northern portion of the Northeast region here dealing with some cooler weather and some rain showers, maybe a few thunderstorms as we head through part of the weekend. Now, as we head through the next few days, heading into early next week, we're going to watch this ridge kind of flatten out. We're going to watch a system here. If I go back, here's this trough. We're going to watch this ride up and over the top of things, kind of flatten things out by the time we get to early next week. Now, this is not the final destination either, though. We're in a bit of a progressive pattern, which means not really getting stuck with one thing or another. So we'll kind of talk about what that means going forward over the next 7 to 10 days. Looking at the high temperatures, or the temperature anomalies for the next 10 days, the first 5 days are on the left and the 5 days that follow that on the right, taking us all the way through August 19th, keeping things cooler across the Northeast region. If you look right here, and if I switch over to a color that shows up there, again, this pattern going to keep things a bit cooler across the Northeast region. Now, not totally cool, not as if we're plunging into an early fall. There are going to be periods of warmth here across the Northeast region, but certainly a cooler bias as we look at the region. The precipitation forecast here, week 1 on the left and week 2 on the right, again, keeping things pretty close to average. There will be some patchy areas of dryness over the next week, some areas that do see quite a bit of rain from a couple possible clusters of thunderstorms moving through the area. We'll talk about those here in detail in a moment, but again, keeping things a little bit cooler and then close to normal, I would say, in the precipitation category here in the Northeast region. Now, looking at the last 48 hours of precipitation, we see a few things here. Again, we've got the flow around the area of high pressure off to the west. We've had a corridor of heavy rain producing thunderstorms here across parts of the Central Plains into kind of the Ozarks here and the Mid-South. And then here's that flow around our upper level low here parked again to our north, bringing the showers and thunderstorms to parts of the Northeast region. As we look at the last 60 days departure from normal here, most of the Northeast region doing pretty good. You can kind of draw a line here, though, where we've got some dryness off to the north and then some patchy areas still dealing with the surplus here off to the south. Another area that you're probably hearing talked about here in the world of agriculture in the United States is this area of dryness here across parts of the central and eastern Corn Belt, across parts of Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. As we look at the soil moisture anomaly, again, pretty good across the Northeast region, checking in on this area of dryness that continues to build across the eastern Corn Belt, but no significant areas of dryness here as we look at the Northeast region. The satellite picture here as we wake up on Friday morning, this is, again, the infrared satellite picture. So we're looking at the temperatures of our cloud tops here. Corridor of very heavy rain producing thunderstorms ongoing here across the Central Plains into parts of Arkansas here this morning. Here is the counterclockwise flow around our area of low pressure off to the north. And then not really showing up here are some patchy clouds, some light showers moving through parts of the region as we wake up here on this Friday morning. But really, as you look anywhere from parts of the upper Midwest here into the Northeast region, really a beautiful start to the weekend here. It's going to be pretty good morning as we wake up here on Friday. Looking at the radar here, again, here are some of those very light showers across parts of the Northeast region here. Most people waking up to a very pleasant Friday morning. Here's that area of showers and storms across the middle part of the country here, the central southern plains into the mid-south, and then some light showers and storms across parts of the northern plains as well. So you look at the surface map here on Friday morning. Here is the area of low pressure off to our north. It's that frontal boundary swinging through the area. The light rain shower is going to be dealing with, or more of an issue as you head off to the north. We've got an area of high pressure right now building into the upper Midwest, and that's going to move off to the east, slowly bringing in pleasant weather for most of us as we head into the weekend. We'll look at the high-resolution NAM model. This will take us through Sunday afternoon, looking at the precipitation forecast. And again, you're seeing some very light showers there as we continue to deal with the impacts of this upper-level low. We'll go ahead and I'll take the drawings off and we'll step through time just so I can show you the development of these showers and storms each afternoon as the sun comes out, heats up the ground, destabilizes the atmosphere with the very cold temperatures in the upper levels from that upper-level low spinning away. So we'll go through the day today. Heading into Friday afternoon here, some of these very light showers and storms starting to pop up, very isolated, I should say. Certainly some downpour is going to be mixed in there. These die as we head into the overnight hours. We lose the heating of the sun. And then as we head into the afternoon on Saturday, seeing some of those flare back up. Again, this is an issue more for the northern portions. We talked about Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and those areas, perhaps New York State picking up on some of this. As we head into the day on Sunday, this thing's going to be moving off to the east slowly. We'll probably end up with a little bit even less in the way of precipitation off to the north, and really a pleasant Sunday across the entire northeast region. So you look at the total accumulated precipitation from this. Again, we're talking about the northern half of the area really dealing with this. As you heading along and south of this line, probably not dealing with much, maybe a light shower or two. But even as you head north, again, these are isolated and patchy and short-lived rain showers and storms. As we look at the severe weather forecast for the next 3 days, nothing to talk about here in the northeast region. Just a general, that light green shading you see there is just where they expect thunderstorms, non-severe thunderstorms. And again, dealing with these isolated showers and storms as we go through Friday afternoon, lesser extent on Saturday. And then by the time we get to Sunday, look at that, totally clear, a beautiful day across the northeast region. So we look at the jet stream, where we're headed over the next 7 days or so. We're looking at the 500 millibar height anomalies right now. Here is that ridge across the central part of the country. Here's this upper level trough that's keeping us cooler with those showers and thunderstorms across northern portions of the region. As we take the drawings off, and then we'll step through time with this one so I can kind of show you the different moving parts. Let's go ahead and jump back and get this playing one more time. There we go. So we'll head through parts of the weekend here. This upper level low begins to move off to the east and leaves us alone here as we get to the end of the weekend. This ridge builds back into parts of the central U.S., parts of the eastern Corn Belt, and this is going to allow some heat to build back into the eastern Corn Belt here in parts of the northeast region. But this upper level low off to the north here, this is going to kind of keep northwest flow across the northeast region, keep us from heating up too much. You know, we keep those cooler anomalies, those cooler temperatures in the region as a whole over the next 10 days. Remember, I said there'll be opportunities for warmth, but certainly keeping things on a cooler bias here across the northeast region, but maybe allowing some heat to build back in here early in the week. Now here comes this trough that's going to move over the top of the ridge and kind of flatten things out, at least temporarily, early next week. This will also bring another opportunity for some rain to parts of the northeast region here, extending into the eastern Corn Belt. Before we get into late next week, we see the ridge kind of rebuilding across the middle part of the country. But again, you notice over here, still keeping things pretty northwesterly in the flow department across the northeast region. This is going to keep us from heating up too much. And then as we head into the early part of the next week, or the late part of next week, this is where we get out to a bit of model disagreement. We're in a period of kind of low confidence, low certainty as we get in and beyond the 7 to 10 day time frame. But just kind of showing you this to show that we do have the opportunity to build some heat back into the middle part of the country. But even as we look out into the 10 to 14 day time frame, while there will be opportunities for warmth here, keeping things generally near average or slightly cooler than average across the northeast region. I'm going to go ahead and we'll jump past this because it does tell a similar story, and this will kind of drive the temperature story home as we play out the next 7 days of temperature anomalies. We'll go ahead and we'll just start. We'll go through time with this one. If the little scroller shows up here, which it does not look like it's going to. I don't know why sometimes it... There we go. I'll get to know this thing. All right, so we go through the next couple of days, going through the weekend here, certainly dealing with much cooler weather as this system moves off this upper level low. As we go through Saturday, talking about temperatures 5 to 15 degrees below average, especially across northern portions of the northeast region. As we head through the weekend, allowing a little bit of warmth to build in here as we get into early next week. Remember I said that ridge kind of shifts eastward, allowing some heat to build into the eastern Corn Belt, but allowing some warmer temperatures to sneak back into the northeast region as well. A cooler bias, but not cool the entire time, is what the forecast holds here across the northeast region. Cooling back down as we head into late next week, but then as we get into the period closer to the weekend, now we're starting to see some of that heat return to the middle part of the country, perhaps some of that moving into the northeast region, but here you see even as we build the heat into the middle part of the country, still dealing with some cooler temperatures across a big chunk of the northeast region. This is kind of going to show the pattern evolution here, just showing kind of how things are, we're progressive right now. We're not getting stuck in one pattern or another. This is precipitable water, so we're looking at the moisture content here, and I'm just showing this to show that when we get these big dry intrusions, which I can kind of show here, we're getting these fronts to push through the area. We're having one right now. Here's the upper level low. Here's the front extending from that, drier air punching in from Canada across the Great Lakes, but it doesn't make it all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. We're not in a pattern there where we're going to kind of just, dry out the entire eastern 2/3 of the country. As we head through the weekend, we're already bringing moisture now back into the middle part of the country. This would be on Monday evening. So it's short-lived. We bring back moisture. Another front comes through. Here it is right here, making its way through. It's a little less defined But there certainly you see things cooling or drying back off, but already on the backside bringing moisture back in as we get into late next week. And then here's our next front starting to push through the region, maybe a little bit further back as we head into next weekend. So kind of a progressive pattern here, not really getting stuck in one thing or another. As we look at, we'll go ahead and jump through here, looking at the precipitation forecast then that accompanies that. Here's the upper level low right now, the light rain shower activity that extends off to the south of that. Let's go ahead, let's take this and play it out through the next 7 days or so. We'll go ahead, we'll step through time with this one as well. Bring it back to today, Friday, taking this out. Here's the isolated shower activity to the north. As we head through the first part of the weekend, we covered that kind of in depth with the high resolution NAM model. As we head into next week, getting into Monday and Tuesday, here comes our next system, bringing some showers and storms to the region as we get into Wednesday. This one exits Thursday, and then Friday, now we've got our next upper level system trying to push into the area, perhaps bringing some showers and storms. So it's kind of every 3 to 5 days, getting a chance for some rain and some thunderstorms pushing into the northeast region. The total accumulated precipitation forecast from the European long-range model, there you see it. It's going to be tough. You know, there are going to be corridors of rain here. Let me jump ahead because now I got the European on the left, the GFS on the right. And we see pretty good agreement with the pattern, but who gets the rain is where we have some disagreement and some low confidence there. So we both see these systems tracking from the northern plains through parts of the Corn Belt into the northeast region. The European model taking this one a little bit further south. If you look at this corridor here, you know, the GFS bringing this through Pennsylvania. But then the European model also has this corridor of heavier rain through parts of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, northern New York State. So it's going to be a progressive pattern where we've got, you know, corridors of storms, corridors of rain pushing from west to east across the region, but low confidence in where exactly those are going to track. So pay attention to our forecasts here each and every morning. Your high temperatures for the next 5 days on Friday, dealing with some cooler temperatures. Look at that, mid-70s for many as we head into the afternoon. Cooler still as the front moves through the area. Very cool and autumn-like Saturday here with high temperatures in the 60s for some of you off to the north. We'll start to warm up into the early parts of next week, Sunday. Here's Monday, and then Tuesday back into the low to mid-70s for many, 80s as you head off to the south. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video, and I'll have your next look at the northeast region on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.